Plenty of things being said at the AFC coaches breakfast, although it's kind of morphing into a press conference now, and there's podiums, and it's a big mess. You got podiums, you got eggs, you got bacon, you got reporters, you got chaos. Apparently the videos coming out of the room are not ideal, so we'll just share some tweets with you.
Why don't they just have a real press conference?
Because they're trying to look. This has always been a very casual thing, and it's morphing into something other than casual. If you saw the image of the commissioner addressing the room last night with 700 people and all these lights, it was like a rock concert. I thought Gene Simmons was going to come out and breathe fire. So this is now a big deal. All right, Stefanski said of Baker Mayfield, if you were watching the screen, you saw the tweet, we hope there's closure at some point. Yes, they definitely hope there's closure, and they hope they get something in return for his contract. We've already discussed that. They won't. Also, Stefanski said he expects Deshaun Watson to participate in the offseason program beginning April 19th. Be careful, Kevin. It's voluntary. He doesn't have to be there, although for $230 million fully guaranteed over 5 years, I would volunteer to be at anything you want me to be at. So yes. I think he'll be there.
He'll be there. That's right. He's got to get there. You know, if there's anybody in the NFL where, like, urgency to get into a facility, work out, get back in the NFL mode, got to learn a new offense, like you talked about, the contract, the pressure of the contract, trying to live up to those expectations, trying to soothe over the Cleveland fan base, the part that's disappointed. That's why you show up April 19th and put in your work and get after it so you can get to playing good like you've talked about so much and erase the memories of the bad things of past. And you can move on to the future. So I expect participation to be all out for Deshaun Watson.
Here's the question I have, and this is a point Miles Simmons made on Friday when we spent the full show breaking down the Deshaun Watson press conference. Yeah. Paid leave is on the table, and I've been told by people who are in a position to know which way the wind is blowing that the league isn't going to be comfortable letting a guy with 22 open civil lawsuits alleging sexual misconduct during massage sessions to just go out and play,
right,
if these aren't resolved.
Right.
So in my mind, okay, the NFL waits until it absolutely has to make a decision. Fine. Start of the regular season, start of the preseason, Deshaun Watson, Browns helmet, out on the field, Browns games, people having to talk about it. NFL doesn't like that. It's not good for the Shield. Are they going to let him show up for the offseason program? That's the point Miles made. I just assume they are. But maybe they move. I don't know. I think they're more likely to.
I think so,
too. It's a different vibe because the offseason program isn't televised.
Right.
The offseason program isn't the focal point. They're worried about, Chris, every year when we get ready to start the season of games on NBC, we're reminded, and it's a good reminder, you got people tuning in that don't pay any attention to the NFL from the time the Super Bowl ends until the time week 1 rolls around. There are plenty of people who fall in that category. So when we have the opening weekend, that's when Deshaun Watson is on the field, and that's when all of a sudden people are like, well, what's going on here? Tell me more about this. I don't know what's going on. So that's where the NFL would definitely not want him on the field if these cases are unresolved, potentially. I'm not saying I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but it's more in play than I think Watson realizes. But for the offseason, only the degenerates like us are paying attention.
Right.
And we already know. So it's not the same PR hit if he's on the field for the offseason program because the people who are paying attention already know. They're worried about the people who are going to tune in to football for the first time right after Labor Day weekend.
Right.
Who don't really understand it and haven't been paying attention. And so that's why I think it's more likely it happens then, if that makes any sense.
I think it makes total sense, Mike. I'm with you there. I can't imagine the NFL being cool with like, hey, again, the optics of this are weird. They are. No matter what you want to say, whatever side you're on here, a guy that's got, a checkered history just got the greatest contract in the history of football. That doesn't look great. It doesn't look great. For Cleveland, the NFL, anybody. And I'm not trying to sit here and accuse Deshaun Watson or say guilty or not guilty. I'm not. I'm just saying the optics of that look weird with that. Hey, you haven't played football and you've been in trouble and you got a lot of things pending. Here's the best contract in the history of football. Good job. So that's where I look at the NFL going, yeah, they have a major PR disaster going on. I mean, you said Labor Day. I think even when we start getting into the preseason games, hey, helmet, highlights, all of that, that's going to be a bad look for the NFL. I'm with you, Mike. I think they got to go here through OTAs, mini camps, all that. Go out there. You're right. There's not a lot of press. Hey, you were on the local news for a few seconds. Hey, look, the Browns got OTAs today, blah, blah, blah. But it's not going to be a national thing. But when it starts to become a national thing, hey, we're blah, 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 checking in a Cleveland camp here, and we're doing a national breakdown of this team and all of that, and here's Deshaun Watson being interviewed by, the major channels, NBC and Fox and CBS and ESPN, then the NFL's got issues. And I got to think, like you said, they're going to nudge to get these things figured out, or you're not playing Watson camp. You got to figure that out before the season starts.
And there was enough that came out of the press conferences on Friday to make me think that they do understand it. Deshaun Watson was asked, are you going to settle the cases? He said, that's not my intent. Pete Carroll, no intent to trade Russell Wilson. Not my intent.
Not his intent.
My intent is to clear my name, right? And Jimmy Haslam was asked about it, separate press conference, a lot of criticism for that. Why not be there shoulder to shoulder with Deshaun Watson during the difficult press conference? But Haslam said, I trusted his people to do the right thing. I think at the end of the day, you can't seem too anxious or you're going to end up paying way too much to resolve these cases. So there's a subtlety to it that I think they're trying to identify, but it's in everyone's interest for these to get resolved before the start of the season. And I'm hopeful that Watson will eventually realize it's in his best interest. It's in the Browns' best interest. It's in the NFL's best interest. It's in the alleged victim's best interest. And for the average Browns fan to say, what did we do to have this cloud migrate from Houston to Cleveland? Why do we have to deal with this? Why do we have to defend Deshaun Watson to our family members and friends that are, I'm thinking about the ardent team can do no wrong Browns fan is in a tough spot for as long as these cases are pending. And if you care about the fans of the team, you don't want them to carry that weight around. You want it to be gone. You want it to be over. You don't want it to become part of your narrative as a Browns fan and as somebody who follows and supports the team.
100%. Start the healing process, right? That's what we're talking about. Start the healing process. If this is still going on and, then you're going to have little details of each little case come out, and it's going to always be a firestorm and a publicity fight. And, like you talking about talk radio in Cleveland, the fans talking about it and all that. I don't see any positives that come out of it right now, other than Deshaun Watson wanting to prove that he is innocent, like you talked about. But, I mean, again, to what length do you go to figure that out? And can you ever really prove that anyways? So at some point, you kind of got to just do what's best for yourself. And like you said, everybody else, Cleveland, the city, the fans, the league, all of it. Hopefully it gets done.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.